Hello from the yarn closet in southern Arizona. I'm Laura. I look a wreck, but I'm getting ready to go into Tucson today to see my parents and to mail out the Dean and Bean sock machine to David. Yes, David, it will work. I'm unclear on the number of needles. I'm pretty sure there's all the needles for the Tuttle. I don't know if there's enough needles for the other one. They take two different kinds of needles. In the needle bag for the Tuttle needles is the top of the green yarn carrier. There are two different yarn carriers because of the part 1 and part 2. Some things can be interchangeable. You just have to watch their videos and call them. I'm so excited because I got to talk to David on the phone, and it was so nice to talk to somebody with a shared interest. I haven't had many good real life exchanges since April. It's been tough. This is a tough season in my life, and I think I can hear my husband waking up. I'm kind of just waiting to get to that next one. I'm kind of just hanging out, trying to be in my heart and happy, appreciative of what I do get. And so David was a wonderful gift. So I wanted to get on and thank him and give a few minutes of an update. And real life. I'm really doing real life these days because I don't think we get enough of it online, and there are many people who are still in a lockdown scenario of life because they're housebound. And I think that a lot of people who really understood that frustration during the quarantines have let it go and have moved on and think everybody else has. We haven't. It sucks. And it's hard. So some of you know my long-term story. Grandma taught me how to crochet and to use a knitting board when I was young, like 8, 9-ish. I didn't do a lot with it. And then when I knew I was losing my sight again in my early 30s, my late 20s, early 30s, I got into crochet and the knitting boards. I was looming Laura. I did some online stuff way back in like 2005 to 2008 until I was just harassed off the internet by this woman because she was also in it. But they were making knitting looms and knitting boards, and so much of the information was overlapping. Like I could tell you what a gauge swatch was, and she could tell you what a gauge swatch was, and there'd be 95% overlap in our explanations because it is. But this was back in the beginning of the really connections on the internets. And people were really getting hostile about, well, I posted that a month before you did. You're copying me. No, we're just posting about the same topics. But I also had a new baby in 2008 and was dealing with blindness. And it was just too much coming at me. I wish that I had stuck with it. But hindsight is 2020, which is why even though I can't do online what I want to these days because of the season of life I'm in, I'm doing as much as I can, and I'm holding on because I know there's going to come another time where we're going to move into something else. But crochet is really near and dear to me because that was my refuge. And that was my refuge when I went legally blind. I did a prayer shawl ministry where I was living in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and because I'd lived in Arizona before, I was involved with some churches. They sent me yarn. I made all these prayer shawls. I gave them to people, sent them out to churches because that's all I could do. And I was going through a divorce with a 2-year-old. It was very challenging times. And, you know, I look back at it now and think, how funny, because I had so much more energy. I had so many more resources. I had so much more. And so now I think I have to remind myself, in this place I am where I can't see it, that I have to know there'll come a day where I will look back and know that I have a lot of resources that I can't see. And that 15 years from now, I will have even less energy. So I will look back fondly at this time. And I started, 7 years ago, I started knitting because my husband was not doing hot physically. He was changing, and it was took almost a year to get a proper diagnosis. So we've had 6 years of that diagnosis. And I needed something to engage my brain a little bit more and challenge me. Because I was frustrated in crochet. I couldn't crochet the sweaters I wanted to crochet in the thin yarns. I could feel certain things in certain patterns. You know, and it's so funny because now I'm almost a decade out and I am crocheting sweaters. This one I started the other day for myself. Inspiration is the sea glass. I'm alternating rows to get a bit of that effect, but I can crochet now with much thinner yarns because I was able to knit with much thinner yarns. So I've attuned my fingers to it. I'm pushing myself to have the patience to get to the right size that will make me comfortable, because at nearly 52, it's so funny. I went from having like your regular clothing assortment, and in the last 4 years, I no longer have a dresser. I have just this small little area in the closet. I have very few clothes. My weight, since I went off the medications they put me on after the hysterectomy, this last year I went off of them. And my body shape has changed dramatically and my weight has gone up some. I still think I'm fit, but I don't feel fit the way that I felt when I was younger, because the shape has changed. I feel this pressure by my ribs because things have pushed forward. It's so weird to be a woman at this stage of the game and nobody talks about it. So I'm trying to come up with a wardrobe that I want to wear and clothes that make me feel good. That's a very conscious wardrobe, and I don't know what style is going to make me feel good, because this doesn't. This is my only V-neck shirt, because I've always had this problem. I'll get these red blotches here, always, my entire life, and people are wondering what's wrong. What are you allergic to? Sit down, you're having an allergic reaction. So I tend to wear, and it wasn't this red until I had a baby at 43, and it's just stayed. So I tend to wear very high neck things, so I don't have to deal with that. And so I'm really trying. I'm trying to give myself, in this weird place and time that I'm in, I'm trying to give myself time and boost myself up. And doing things like letting go of the sock machine that I haven't used for the last year, and realizing part of it is the finer needle gauge, the fact that I'm having a hard time putting in an afterthought heel. I had too many problems the last time I tried to make a sock on it because I just missed things because of my sight. So I'm moving forward into the things I can always do and trying to keep focus on that. This is a slightly heavier gauge than I want, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Because you do get some more faster in crochet. I actually made this for my daughter, but I made it big enough. She is a 55-inch tall, size 12 to 14, 8-year-old. They estimate she will be a good 6'1" or 6'2" or something. So it's much longer. What is going on there? Oh, that's just a color differentiation. So I made this for her recently because she had one she was still wearing from when she was 4 that kind of hit her cropped, and she doesn't like that. I think she goes through clothes so fast that she likes things a little bit big. So it is a nice full length on her. Some hand spun that I purchased off Etsy that's got acrylic in it. So it's a little bit softer, not quite as hot as the wool. We do live in Arizona after all. And other people than me don't really seem to appreciate the wicking qualities. She still had this one that I made for her a couple years ago. But it was also getting to be a bit small. And so I just wanted to get on and share and say, here's the thing. We're always moving forward. And I had somebody really mean to me this last week, criticizing me about, you're not in the moment, you're not right here, you're looking back all the time, you're talking about things in the past, you're talking about things in the future. Honey, you missed everything about where my life is at right now. There's very little right now, and I am focused very much on the right now. I'm making this the best summer I can for my kids. I'm engaged with them every day, but there's a lot of things that limit our right now. And me talking about what happened yesterday is not me talking about the past. It's talking about what I'm growing in me in this stage of life. And I'm really having a hard time discerning whether or not I should just cut that person out, ghost, or respond, because we had a bit of a, like, I went to her business and whatever, and we had an exchange, and she's expecting some feedback from me, and part of me doesn't want to give it. Part of me just wants to go away from the negative. But if she opened her heart to my heart's response, perhaps there could be growth on both sides. And see, I am a person driven by my heart. Look with your heart first, not your eyes. I am in my heart most of the time. But she was so aggressive at me that I went right into my head, because that's my safe defensive mechanism. That's what I learned. So I don't know. So we got some crochet, we got some knitting, we got some crazy life talk, and a thank you to David today. I hope you are all well, and I look forward to more knitting, yarn content, and longer podcasts, and the ever-evolving state of our lives. Look with your heart first, not your eyes.